you had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from West St. Paul Studios, it's time for MinneZona Sports Live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back, yes. Clamps out 241, episode 241. Yes, sirree, Bob. And we have a jam-packed show tonight, so without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., 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 and all the way in Granite City Studios in St. Cloud, Minnesota, Paul the Shield. What's going on there, Shield?
Well, before we get invested into tonight's cause as well, yesterday was a special day inside the Vold household. 8 years of wedded bliss between myself and creative consultant Mrs. Sarah Ann Vold. And in commemoration, cheers. Now, with that also being said, I had a whole thing prepared leading up for tonight as well. You get to a point in your life and you get really excited about things. And now I've reached a stage in my life where I get excited about things that are probably telling my age a little bit. Last night, of course, it was me and my wife's anniversary. And after, to a nice dinner, killing some time without the children present, which was also nice. Thanks to my parents for watching the boys there for a little while. But got excited and we decided what's more romantic than a lovely stroll through Home Depot. Yes, that is right, Home Depot. And lo and behold, we were looking for totes of all things, storage containers, and one of which just so happens to be, the black and yellow totes you probably have seen floating around, or kind of the big heavy-duty Rubbermaid ones. Well, they got a smaller one, believe it or not, a nice 7-gallon one that will be holding all the confines and materials that make up Granite City Studios, and I also have it doubling as a table, so that way I don't have to reach all the way down to grab a drink. Now I can just do a simple little lean, and there we are.
And
I'm
cheers.
excited, and another great show in store tonight.
Yes, we do. Well, Voldy, as we have kind of talked about, and there's a lot that has gone on, especially over the Memorial Day weekend. The Minnesota Timberwolves are down 3-1 to the Oklahoma City Thunder in a Game 4 that was really good by both teams, but it came down to turnovers. We will talk about that, and obviously the game tonight that will be starting at about 7:30, and we will keep you in tune with that. So watch us. Watch the Wolves. Hopefully the Wolves can eke it out.
Well, you're watching yourselves?
Yeah, or something like that. I don't know. Anyway.
It's the weirdest watch along of all time. I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. But also, there was a team that actually won a chip, and that is the Minnesota Frost. Yes, we are talking about the Frost. Congratulations
well done, ladies.
to
well done.
the Minnesota Frost for winning it's the Walter Cup, right? Is that what it's called?
The Walter Cup, yep.
Okay, So they went, as Drake once said in a song, they went back to back. They went back to back. They ain't gonna have it. Anyway.
Leave it to Minnesota, where the Big Four, of course, MLB, NHL, NFL, and NBA, have not won a championship in 30-plus years. But in this century alone,
I know,
quite possibly the greatest state for female professional sports.
Yes, and
who's gonna tell me wrong?
Nobody. And the Lynx have done well. The Frost now, formerly just Minnesota team last year, but now they're the Frost. Congratulations to the Frost. They fired their GM or something this past year, and they still won the chip. I mean, it's insane. It's good for them. We'll quick talk about that. Talk about the impact it has on people. And for all the zoners, guys, guess what? It's back. Yes, Table Topics is back. It's been a while since we've done some Table Topics. I got some for you, the zoners, and obviously Voldy as well. See if you can hit on some, and we'll go from there. But we do also have a stacked ARA tonight. We got the college football approving the new seeding model in the CF, college football playoff, and everything like that. We'll talk about that. And Caitlinclark out 2 weeks with quad strain. We'll talk a little bit about that, see if that has a big impact and whatnot. And the preseason to blame for the Bengals' slow start. Oof, that'll be interesting to talk about. And then to round things off, Terry Bradshaw says the Steelers' interest in Rodgers is a joke. And guess what? I tend to agree with him.
Old Terry.
Good old Terry. And obviously, you know the deal. We got a shield. Shout-outs tonight as well. So, jam-packed show tonight. We got to get to the big game tonight with the Minnesota Timberwolves. There's been a lot of talk. We're going to talk about it. Zoners, feel free to air your grievances and or hopes, if you will, for your Minnesota Timberwolves. Do you think they're going to do it? Do you think it's just it's a pipe dream? This ain't gonna happen. Let us know. So, anywho, let's go to the oven. Let's set it in. It's time for some Tater Tot Hot Take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, welcome back. Tater Tot Hot Take. It's fresh. It's out of the oven. It is the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are down 3-1 to those Oklahoma City Thunder. A lot to be said about this series in general. A lot of storylines. Ant, Julius Randle, SG flop. Yes, I said it. And it's very true to this day. We'll talk about that as well. But Voldy, let's take a look at over the weekend, Game 3. The Wolves absolutely destroyed the Thunder. They went and smacked them right in the mouth, and they did not let up. They kicked ass. There's like at least more than five, I should say. More than five players in double figures in points. They're out rebounding them, out physicaling them as well. I mean, they were kicking ass. And then you get to Game 4, a little bit closer. The Thunder look at this as a let's try and get this win, get a steal win here in Minneapolis, and they unfortunately did.
Yes,
that game was actually a great game for the Timberwolves in general.
What?
They outshot the Thunder. They made more shots than the Thunder. They also were, very good on the glass. They did get out rebounded on offensive rebounds, which was a problem. But we had a bunch of guys in double figures. We had Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 23 points. Dante DiVincenzo finally hitting some shots, 21 points. And Naz Reid, our tribal chief. And as you know, you have to acknowledge your tribal chief. Yes, acknowledge your tribal chief as well. Hopefully he can do it for us tonight. But Julius Randle, only 5 points. That game, not great. Ant had 16. He only had like one shot or two shots in the first half as well. So there were some things that didn't go well for the Wolves, turnovers being one of them, over 20 turnovers. You do that against this team, you're going to lose most of the time. So anyway, Voldy, what are your thoughts on Game 4? And obviously we're going to hit Game 5 here in a second. But anything to add with the Game 4 loss to Oklahoma City?
Well, considering the fact that the Timberwolves did just about everything right, they, were leading in like 10 or 12 statistical categories from the game, but ultimately ended up losing. See, the big thing out of it, you look at the stat line, you get SGA, the MVP, the free throw merchant. He goes off for 40 points. 40 points, and then you've got Jalen Williams, 34. Put those two together, that's 74 points. So you've got two guys doing almost 2/3 of the damage on the floor for OKC, while you've got, another three guys in the starting rotation. You got Alex Caruso coming off the bench for another 5 points. You get some size-on-size matchups here and there. That is what hurt the Timberwolves in this contest. Sure, it was a 2-point loss, but kind of going back and forth, gimme. You got SGA going for 12 for 14 at the free throw line. Again, the free throw merchant himself, but you get two guys going off for 74 points, and you throw in Chet Holmgren, who puts in another 21. That you're almost at 100 points right there with three guys. That cannot happen for the Timberwolves. And then you look on the other side, the Timberwolves struggled with Julius Randle only 5 points, when a guy we need desperately to kind of, assert himself in the role. When you're getting outscored by Mike Conley, there's some issues going on there. Not saying Mike Conley's a bad player, but Mike Conley isn't exactly the same Mike Conley when Mike Conley first Mike Conley in the league. Now you got, you got some struggles there with Julius Randle, and obviously Ant putting up only 16 points, but, Jaden McDaniels, nice 22 points overall. The fact that you've got your two, probably, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say your two best players in Randle and Edwards, not even getting half as many points, or getting half as many points as one other guy on the other side, that does not help. I mean, sure, you got a little bit of depth play with, DiVincenzo and, obviously Nickeil Alexander-Walker coming off the bench, but you hope that isn't going to be the constant case here coming into game number 5 here, and that is going to be, the big decision, or at least the what are we going to, looking at this matchup, it's, obviously it's a make or break situation here for the Timberwolves, because season's on the line and they need to play a heck of a lot better than they did, previously, especially with the fact it was only a 2-point loss, but cannot let SGA go off for 40 and you get three other guys that are putting up almost 100 points in total. Something's got to give here, especially with this matchup tonight.
Right, and I think another player that I thought really did well for the Thunder was, in fact, Minnesota's own Chet Holmgren.
Absolutely.
He played really well. He had 21 points, 9 of 14 from the field, 2 of 4 from
Crazy.
3. I mean, that's really good.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
you know what encapsulates, or kind of pretty much, says what we were just talking about? Lucas, shout out to Lucas tuning in.
My dog.
Brutal being so close, just can't give up so many extra opportunities like that. Turnovers and O-boards killed us. Yes. I mean, literally, that's what I've been preaching these past few days as well. I think what it kind of came down to is not having Ant and or Julius Randle have a decent game. I mean, Ant kind of came back in the second half, but in the first half, there just wasn't much. Now, I don't necessarily agree with how these national sports media people, Stephen A. Smith and some of these other NBA analysis, they're like, oh, you only have one shot from that. And it's like everybody was making it. I mean, that's the thing. He was passing the ball, and these guys are just hitting shots left and right.
Exactly.
And the last time I checked, I believe that basketball is a team sport. I know there's been some that they expect these players to go off for, whatever. But hey, if everyone else is going off and they're hitting their shots, why wouldn't you follow that lead? So I just think it's ridiculous in the sense that, oh yeah, he wants to be the face of the league and everything. It's like, you guys labeled him as that. He didn't ask for it. And then you get mad at him when he says when he doesn't want it, or he doesn't want to be the next MJ. It's like, let him be Anthony Edwards instead of trying to push this narrative that you think he should be the guy. And it's like, well, no, it's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and this and that. And listen, people are going to get sick of the flopping. And the NBA has a big problem on their hands. I am not discrediting this young man. He is a very good basketball player. MVP, I wouldn't say that. But I think that they need to address that problem because there were some calls in Game 4, not saying the reason why the Wolves lost, but, I mean, he literally, forearmed his own cousin in the face. In the face. No call. Oh, and Ant's not even in, one of the plays, and he, trips over him. And that's a foul on Ant?
Apparently.
So, it doesn't make
MVP.
sense. It doesn't make sense to me from that perspective. But, that's what it came down to, is literally the big thing is offensive rebounds, and, I mean, they out-hustled them in that aspect. The turnovers were bad. Now, let me bring up Julius Randle for a second. I've been very impressed by the way that he's played. You know, there were those games in this series that haven't been good, but I get so frustrated when some of these guys give him the ball to bring up the court. Stop giving it to him up the court. Make sure you have everybody set and everything. If you're on a fast break, fine. But good Lord, when he brings it up and you just know they're going to take advantage of that. And he had 5 turnovers to, to put that. I mean, and I'm not discrediting him because I think he's been fantastic. But damn, dude, we gotta stop passing it to him when we're bringing it up the court. So. And then when he tries to back guys down and he just holds on to the ball, it's like, dude, you gotta pass it. So tonight, I think he'll have a better game. I really do. I think he probably took that to heart and he's gonna work his ass off. In Game 1, he had 26 points in the first half. I mean, he's capable. And Ant needs to get going too. So there's a lot to be said with him as well. So. Looking ahead to Game 5 here, obviously this game will be starting in about, so it's 7:16 right now. Let's be honest, tip-off's probably going to be at 7:45 or something.
Yeah, I was going to say.
How it works. So I said this to one of my coworkers today, Voldy. I said, the fan in me thinks the Wolves can win this game. I'm not going any further than that.
Right.
I think they can win this game. They bring it back to Minnesota. Maybe, maybe they can pull it off. I think if it goes back to Minnesota, there's still people start to say, okay, maybe there's something here. But the realist in me says, after a game like that where you did nearly, and I say nearly, everything right besides rebounds and turnovers, it's just tough to lose like that. And especially when you were that close. And again, I'm going to give credit to OKC. They are looking like a team that's going to be in the playoffs and competing for a long time. I will say that. And, I got to give respect where respect is due.
For sure.
But at the same time, I believe this Wolves team can match up with these guys, and they can stay with them. They can. And I think if they have a bad shooting night and everything like that, I think that being the Thunder, I think they can take advantage of it. I really do. And the thing is, it has to be not a whole lot of mistakes. You got to play with the championship mindset. So if they go into OKC and things haven't fared well in this series in OKC, as we've talked about, Voldy. But I'm going to kind of go with the fan side of me tonight. Voldy, we predicted Wolves in 7.
Yep.
I'm sticking with it. Let's just stick
with
it. Because last year, Voldy, I changed my prediction with them and the Nuggets. And when they went down 3-2, I was like, I think the Nuggets win Game 6. Was I wrong? So this is kind of different team and everything, but we're sticking with Wolves in 7. So that's kind of how we look at it. Voldy, anything to add? What are you looking for here in Game 5 tonight?
Obviously playing on the road in OKC is not going to be easy, given the fact, of course, you drop 1 of 2 at home, and OKC gets, the first 2 games at home to get the series started off right for them. I look at it as a situation where, you really don't have much to lose at this point if you are the Timberwolves. So you got to go out there, you got to play fast, got to play loose, and play as if this is your last game. You push it to Game 6, you get back at home, pick up that win, and then you got to win twice out on the road. If not, win 2 out of 3 on the road is a tall task, especially at this point of the year. Western Conference Finals, you're looking to punch your ticket to the NBA Finals. It is not going to be easy in any stretch of the imagination, but with the group that they do have, especially, you throw in, of course, with Ant, and you got Rudy, and, some of these other guys coming off the bench, and and DiVincenzo. I mean, they're going to play, they're going to play fast, they're going to play it loose, and I feel like they are definitely in a situation where the pressure is on OKC to finish. Absolutely. Timberwolves, they got nothing to lose at this point, so might as well just go out there and just see what happens. So it's up to OKC to stop the Timberwolves for sure. So I am definitely sticking with Wolves in 7.
That's what I like. Lucas, I love his optimism too. He says, we win this one. Anything can happen. It's very true. But this one is going to be tough, tough, tough. And that is times 3 that he put that. And I mean, I couldn't agree with him more. And the thing is the bench has to play the way they played last game. And that's tough to follow up. Don't get me wrong. But I think they're very capable. I think they extend this series and they play at the Target Center and see what happens from there. I mean, I could see this ending tonight for sure. I really do. But, and I'm going to be sick and tired of all the people saying, oh, Edwards didn't do the boo-boo. It's just like, shut the hell up. The guy's 23 years old. He's still a young pup. Pardon the pun. But he is. And it's just frustrating. But
absolutely.
I think they're going to get it done tonight. They're going to extend the series. We're still going Wolves in 7. There's hope here. And, if we're wrong, we're wrong. And that's just how it is. Talked to Zappa as well, Voldy, the other day. And he said that, they just, the main thing is they just got to keep playing hard and seeing where it takes them. I mean, this isn't over. People are writing them off, and that can be a good thing in some aspects for motivation. So there's hope. So we will keep you informed. The game's going to be starting very soon. So Wolves in 7. That's what I'm saying. Wolves in 7. That's what we're doing. Wolves in 7. So moving on. There was a Minnesota team that won a championship, and that being the Minnesota Frost. Claps all around as well. Oh my goodness, where did everybody go? That is weird.
No.
Hi. There we go. We're back. So anyway, I don't know what happened there. That is weird. I'll fix that in a second. So the Frost go back-to-back. They get the overtime victory. I think they played in like 8 overtime games, Voldy. I don't know about you. That is crazy. They get the OT win in the XL Energy Center, which is fantastic, to say the least. Now that they've gone back-to-back, Voldy, I mean, are we going to be labeling them as a possible dynasty like the Lynx? I mean, what do you think?
I mean, it certainly does help our cause, knowing that the first 2 years of the PWHL, the best team in the league just so happens to be right in our very own backyard in Minnesota. I mean, it is fantastic to see, of course, with the amount of players that come not only out of the state, but of course, just, even with the progress that has been made in women's professional sports. I mean, I definitely like the fact that the team that we do have, especially getting the top pick in Taylor Heise out of Minnesota. You got Kendall Coyne Schofield, who is a GOAT in a lot of people's minds and fantastic, especially with their play internationally. I mean, for the women's U.S. national team, and of course, the success that has been played overseas too internationally. I love the fact that we have this to go off of. Now we just need the men's teams to start to reciprocate just a little bit. I am saying yes, we are in the midst of a dynastic run right now with the Frost.
It's getting a little frosty. Pardon the pun. I know that was a bad joke. But you know what? That's yeah, we're just trying to figure this out. Hey, there we're back. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is a team that has proven they can win it in crunch time. They didn't really have a lead. Game 2, they didn't really have a lead, and they won an OT. Game 3, same deal. I mean, it's just crazy to say the least. And if I remember correctly, and I heard this, and correct me if I'm wrong, when they had to go to Ottawa, they had to they had to fly on the same flight as the Ottawa team. So whoever won the game would either, get to pick where they'd want to sit and stuff like that. It's just like, that is so, awkward. And just I mean, we're trying to beat you guys, and now we're flying with you guys. It's just, because apparently there's no direct flights out from Ottawa to Minnesota or something like that. I don't know. It's a whole situation.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah,
I don't get it either.
And like I said at the beginning too, I mean, they fired their GM. There were some issues that were happening, and things like that. And for them to kind of, I don't know, come together and go into these playoffs and dominate like that is just impressive.
Sure.
The one thing I'm most impressed with this team is how many people that were there and watching this game. It was over 11,000 people, and that just kind of shows hey, the women are dominating here in Minnesota. They've got it together. Now it's one of those things where I just think with all these, with the Lynx, with the Frost and everything like that, I mean, they should be getting more time, and again, the national media won't do this because they're just the national media. But they should, be getting some games on ESPN, TNT, however they, however you can do it. Because, I mean, there were some great games. There were some awesome games from that. So, hopefully they can do it next year. And I mean, it's a real cool thing to see, and to celebrate and just kind of say, hey, we're back-to-back champions. Not a lot of Minnesota sports teams can say that. So that's just how it goes. But today, Voldy, they did celebrate in St. Paul.
Yes, they did.
Excuse me. They still are right now. It's from 6 to 8, I believe. So they are having a great time. They're confetti. They got the Walter Cup and everything like that. So apparently photo opportunities with the Walter Cup, a DJ, games, concessions, and merch. I got to get myself some merch, I think, Voldy. I think we got to get some Frost stuff just to rep, because they're, back-to-back champs. You got to love it. By the way, I do love their jerseys, by the way. Those are sick.
They're pretty sweet. I like the color scheme.
I think we talked about it earlier on the one of the earlier episodes, or this past season, about, what it looks like and stuff. They're pretty sweet. We like them.
Yeah, when they unveiled the names for all the teams,
Yes. Yeah, that's the one, exactly. So, I know ARA's not till later, but it's got our
there. It
approval.
is.
There we go. Yes. So, congratulations to the Frost. Very happy. Enjoy the spoils of your victory and whatnot. And let's go 3-peat. 3-peat?
Ooh.
Maybe. We'll see.
Don't say it too loudly. You might have to start paying Pat Riley.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. See, Voldy's on top of it, man.
Mm-hmm. Big brain.
All we got. So, that being said, that'll do it for Tater Tot Hot Take. We will keep you up to date on Wolves, Thunder, try to as much as we can during the show. But if you're watching us and watching the Wolves too, props out to you guys as well. So, table topics tonight. Voldy, I think these are pretty solid. I'm not going to lie. I went through this.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to get – there might be a couple layups here. But there's one that I think you'll enjoy too. So,
okay.
Zoners and Voldy, let's get it going with some. If I can find it, where'd it go? Where did it go? There it is. Let's get it going with some table topics.
The tables have been set. It's time for MinneZona's Table Topics.
All right, it is time for Table Topics, and yes, this was put together during our radio days by Mama Callahan. So I just wanted to throw a shout out to Mama Callahan and whatnot for Table Topics. This is our new version of Table Topics. Since the old one we went through probably once, maybe even twice, who knows?
At least.
At least, yes, exactly. So let's start off tonight with the Twins, and the Twins unfortunately lost today 5-0 to the hated or Voldy's hated Tampa Bay Rays.
Man, lose to Tampa.
Yeah,
they didn't even have a stadium.
I know.
We're losing to Tampa.
The stadium looked like and again, I know it's but like it looked like they were playing somewhere, I don't know, in Minnesota, just at a like in Marshall or something. And it's no knock to Marshall. I'm just
playing at
a
rec center or something.
Rec center, yeah, I like that better.
Yeah, you got like
let's go with
17 fields all next to each other or whatever. You got kids coming back and out from all the different teams. Going on 57 games on the day.
It's a whole deal.
It's a crap show.
So let's start off the first one with the Minnesota Twins. I will say it, and then I'll pause just because, give people the time to think and or search on their computer or phone. Just kidding. Yeah, whoever's got it. In what year was Joe Mauer named AL MVP? Okay. Now, what year, and I asked this of the zoners as well, I'll keep reminding just because some people are like, I wanted to, put in a chat, but I didn't know if you want. I was like, yeah, just do it, man. Just do it. So, yes, in what year was Joe Mauer named AL MVP? So, Voldy, what do you got?
That would have been the magical, wonderful season of 2009.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding. That is 2009. A little bit of a layup, but, I just feel like with how the Twins have been playing, and obviously Joe Mauer being into or going into the Baseball Hall of Fame, everything along those lines as well, just thought it would be a good one to start things off. But let's stick with the Twins. This one's a little bit tougher here. So,
well, before we go there, how about we talk about that 2009 season? Because final year at the Metrodome.
That's right.
Not a lot of expectations going in the year.
No.
Joe Mauer got that big. Didn't he get that big? Was that when he got the big contract or after that season?
I think so. I believe so. Yeah.
So everybody's talking about, Joe Mauer's going to the Yankees. He's going to sign with them. He's going to leave us, and we're all going to start at square one all over again. But no, 2009 was interesting because he didn't even start the season because he was hurt to start the year too, I believe, or something like that. He joined in like 35 games into the year or something, started cranking homers left, right, and center, and
that was
playing out of his mind.
That was his big homer year, I think.
Yeah.
Because he didn't he, and zoners can correct us if we're wrong, but didn't he go to the home run derby that year. Or did he not?
Did?
Or was it Morneau? Am I thinking Morneau? I don't know.
Well, it was 2009. I want to say it was Mauer because I think the All-Star game was in a city that hosted the All-Star game. Was that St. Louis that year? I want to say it was.
It might be, yeah. Yeah. It sounds about right. Anyway, as Tate joins the fold, welcome, Tate. Look at that guy. Looking good as always.
Always.
Always. So, yeah, that year was good. Was that a first-round exit, Yankees, right?
Yep,
that one
as always.
Oh, sheesh.
Yep, final game ever at the Metrodome, playoff loss.
Yep, no surprise there. So, we got to turn the clocks back a little bit here. In 1977, who set the Twins' single-season records for both batting average and hits? Okay, so you got to think back to some of the guys that been around for a little bit, and obviously Twins Hall of Fame, Ring of Honor, however they put it, I'm not sure.
Yes.
But last time in 1977, who set the Twins' single-season records for both batting average and hits? And no, just to give the zoners a hint, it was not Joe Mauer. So
Okay, cool. All right.
well,
that was going to be about my fifth guess.
Exactly.
I believe it
Go
was. I'm going to say, if I'm allowed to answer right now.
Yes,
here.
go. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say, was it... What was I going to say? Oh, Rod Carew.
Yes! Spot on, Voldy. Well done. Yes, it was Rod Carew. Probably my Papa Callahan's favorite Twin.
Nice.
By far. Loved Rod Carew a lot. Liked Tony O as well. So, yeah, that's Rod Carew. So, moving on to our next topic. We're going to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Obviously, they're playing tonight. This one's kind of tough because I feel like whenever I first saw the Wolves, or even going to Target Center, I was always wondering why there was something in the rafters per se. Just kind of, it was. I didn't really understand it until obviously later on. So the question I have for the zoners and Voldy is this. The Minnesota Timberwolves retired jersey number 2 in honor of what swingman who played in 113 games for them from 1998 to 2000. Which, again, the Wolves are starting to materialize a little bit, KG being around and whatnot. And I think Wally World was maybe around during that time, too.
Goddamn right he was.
Love me some Wally World, Wally Szczerbiak. But last time here, the Wolves retired jersey number 2 in honor of what swingman who played in 113 games for them from 1998 to 2000. I'll give it 1 second here, and we will let Voldy answer. Are they doing tip-off? No, not. All right, Voldy, what do you got?
I believe the last name is Sealy. Is that correct?
Yes. Do you know the first name?
Is it Malik Sealy?
Correct. Right
Look
on
at this
the money.
elite basketball mind.
I'm telling you, man. Yes, Malik Sealy had he had a promising career. Unfortunately, tragically, passed away and whatnot. And I always, like I said before, I always was wondering what. And my dad explained it to me, and it was just very sad, because obviously he had a very promising career. and a promising future as well, and just tugs at your heartstrings a little bit, unfortunately, and whatnot. And R.I.P. Malik Sealy for sure. I never really saw him play by any means. I was a little young at the time, but definitely saw some highlights. Dude was a great player. So, that's kind of what we'll do with that one. Let's move on to our next one. The next one I have for you, Voldy, is this. There was a kicker that went to the 2017 Pro Football Hall of Fame, and he spent the 2004 season with the Minnesota Vikings. What kicker and 2017 Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee spent the 2004 season with your Minnesota Vikings? So we'll give it 1 sec here.
Okay, I think I've got a guess.
You got a guess in mind?
I do.
Well, we'll just go ahead, Voldy. We'll just do it. Go ahead.
Is it Morten Anderson?
Dang! He is on fire today. Yes, Morten Anderson. The man that won it, unfortunately, for the Atlanta Falcons in that 98 season and beat the Vikings, and the Vikings end up signing him in 2004.
Yeah,
I think
they
he
won
was
the
all right.
Super Bowl, so screw him.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. The Broncos were scared that they were going to play the Minnesota Vikings, and they didn't think that they could. Just saying. I'm just saying. But, yeah, let's see. Morten Anderson.
From Denmark.
Vikings. Yes, that is correct. Let's just see his stats from there, because I'm just curious, man. We can grab a second here. Let's see. Here it is. Okay, he did play in 16 games. His field goal percentage of Voldy was 81%. That's pretty good, you know. His extra points, he was 45-45. Didn't miss one. That was his
that's
lone
back
season.
when the when the extra point was was a 17-yard field goal. So
yeah, exactly.
Missed those days.
Yeah. I mean, he did have some misses. He missed one, and this season, that's it. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a chip shot. He played from 1982 to 2000. That's impressive. And he ended his career with the Atlanta Falcons, which is interesting in itself. So good for him. And Voldy is on fire. He has not gotten one wrong at all. So claps out to Voldy so far. All right. This is our final one. That was a bad throw. Hold on. There you go. Wow, that really flew. Let's take a look at our next one here. This one is more of a, I would say, how would I describe it? It involves the Minnesota Twins, and it involves a certain player here. So I'm just going to say, I don't want to reveal too much. I feel like I've already revealed too much. What DH reached the World Series with the Red Sox, your Red Sox, in 1986, the Twins in 1987, and the A's in 1988. That's a lot of World Series to go to, and that is very fortunate for this guy, for sure. So
winning 2 out of 3, I believed, also.
Yeah. What DH reached? Yeah. What DH reached the World Series with the Red Sox in 1986, the Twins in 1987, and the A's in 1988? Voldy, what is your guess?
Oh boy, only one name comes to mind. I can't remember if he did play with the Red Sox or not, but I'm going to say, and a great baseball name too, Chili Davis.
That is incorrect.
Probably wrong.
I wish I did have a buzz. We should get that, a buzzer,
Yeah, get a buzzer
sound
going
bite for that.
Okay.
But how about this name, Voldy? Maybe this will ring a bell.
Okay.
Don Baylor.
Don Baylor, of course.
Yes. Don Baylor, who did,
doggone it.
he won a World Series with the Twins, so that's great. That's good news. He's already etched himself in history as well. So, hey.
Used to, can't remember if he still holds the record or not, but he used to get plunked a lot. A lot of hit by pitches. Can't remember if he still holds the record or not, but he was high up on there for a while.
Hopefully he doesn't have any concussion symptoms or something. Nice.
Nah, I got hit on the arm a lot.
Oh, okay. There you go. Voldy, there is one but it pretty much gave it away. Let me just throw this one out to you. What team eliminated the Twins from the playoffs with a 3-game sweep in the ALDS in 2009, 2010, and again in 2019? Go ahead.
It's the Yankees, as always.
Yes, that is correct. I'll do the correct, but we hate that. It's the Yankees. Of course.
Always the Yankees.
I don't know what it is with this team and them not being able to beat the Yankees, but whatever. That'll do it for Table Topics. This time around, Voldy, the game has started. The Wolves and the Thunder are playing right now, and the Wolves currently, right now, have the lead. 3-0. So watch out. The Wolves are coming. Hopefully they don't lose that lead. We'll keep you up to date and whatnot, but keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on our show as well. We have ARA coming up. Tonight we're talking about the college football playoff. Approves a new seeding model. So now it's going to be a little bit different for everybody. We'll talk about it. The next one, Caitlinclark is out for 2 weeks with the quad strain. Talk about that. And the preseason to blame for Bengals' slow start. Oof. We'll talk about that one. I've got some thoughts there. And Terry Bradshaw says the Steelers' interest in Aaronrodgers is a joke, which we tend to agree. So, stacked ARA tonight, so let's get it going. What's up? Approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, it is time for Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, we start off in the world of college football, where the college football playoff once again will be switching things up when it comes to how they seed teams for the second year of the 12-team format after, of course, Ohio State made its unremarkable run to a national championship, even after a struggle bus of the end of the regular season for the Buckeyes. Now, the 12-team college football playoff will be moving to a straight seeding model this fall, rewarding the selection committee's top 4 teams with the top 4 seeds and a first-round bye. Of course, this is coming off that the highest 4 ranked conference champions earned the first 4 seeds, regardless of where they were ranked. So, of course, if you were a conference champion and highest ranked, you were getting a first-round bye. Now, of course, now is going to be looked at with the top 4 teams that will be earning the top 4 seeds, thus hosting a first-round game and also a first-round bye. Now, that will also clear up a lot of things, of course, with the 5 highest-ranked conference champions afterwards that will be guaranteed a spot in the 12-team field. So you take the top 4 teams plus the 5 highest-ranked conference champions, then you move on to all the looky-loos that are trying to get their way into the college football playoff. Of course, the FBS commissioners and, of course, Notre Dame athletic director did constitute the management committee to come to a unanimous agreement during a change of which that took place this past week. With that decision taking place, does bring up, of course, another change in the changing world of college athletics as well as college football. Is it absurd or approved? This new seeding model will improve the overall playoff, so we get a little bit more parity than we did last year with Ohio State running roughshod over teams that were ranked above them.
Well, I will say it's got my stamp of approval, and the college football NCAA, we've ripped them many times here on the show, but I believe that they figured this one out pretty well, and I just think they're going to make this a little bit more interesting as opposed to just kind of granting some of these teams that just really don't have a chance at winning, per se, a national title. You look at Notre Dame, who almost took it, obviously losing to Ohio State. That you want those big-time matchups instead of blowouts, and it just doesn't look good for the NCAA. I believe you should just do an 8-team deal. I really do, but 12 gets a little much. But I'd say it's got my stamp of approval. I think it makes more sense. A lot more competition, a lot more easier for teams to possibly upset. And unfortunately, yes, Ohio State did win it all. Joe Clements is very happy right about now,
over the moon,
I should say, over the moon. It's got my stamp of approval. I think this makes sense, and obviously they're granting it to the teams that win the conference championships as well. So it's got my stamp of approval. Voldy, what do you got?
Yeah, I don't understand why this wasn't the case to start off, of course, with it coming with the 12-team playoff, that it should have been set up this way from the very beginning. I feel like when it comes to these decisions that, the college football playoff makes, they try to make it too technical as opposed to, sometimes, in this case, less is more. You get the top 4 teams, top 4 seeds. Seems pretty cut and dry there, but no, we got to be the top 4 teams that are ranked by winning a conference championship and something like that, earning a first-round bye. But if Notre Dame, who's an independent, is ranked in the top 4, they get a first-round bye. Again, it gets way too confusing. Top 4 teams, boom, first-round bye, off you go. No problem whatsoever. Now, I feel like this will definitely create a lot more parity and hopefully give a little bit more respect to the other teams that are conference champions, or in some cases, say the top 4 teams, I would imagine, are the conference champions. Then you get, other ranked teams ahead of that, that at least get into the college football playoff and then get their chance to at least showcase themselves on the national scene. So it's got my stamp of approval as well. There was definitely a much easier decision that could have been made probably a year or so ago, instead of just trying to reinvent the wheel when the wheel is perfectly fine itself.
Yeah, that's just what they do. They ruin a good thing sometimes, and but it seems like this is all right. So stamp of approval. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, we head to the world of the WNBA and its shining star, its shiny new toy, and now in its second season, CaitlincLark is unfortunately going to be out at least 2 weeks with a quad strain in her left quad that was announced early this week on Monday after suffering said pain in her leg in the game against the New York Liberty this past Saturday, but also reports coming out that she had been pushing through some leg issues since the start of the season through training camp. Of course, CaitlincLark putting up a league best 9.5 assists per game while putting up almost 20 points per game as well. Definitely putting herself in the early conversation for that being in, being MVP caliber play in her second season. Now, this does certainly hurt in a few respects, of course, not only for the Indiana Fever, but for the league as a whole. Without CaitlincLark for the next 2 weeks, how's that going to affect, of course, with sales and numbers overall for the next 2 weeks? You look at here, that's at least a good 6, 7, maybe 8 games. That's if she stays on track too. but it's a pretty cut and dry situation. I mean, the Fever are playing right now. They're in Washington, 2-2 coming into the matchup against Washington. Is it absurd or proof? Will the Fever be below 500 with the absence of Caitlin Clark when she returns?
That's a great question. And, just to add on for a second here, too, man, you don't want to, keep playing on that, especially if it started from training camp into now, unfortunately. And, because she is, she's the face of the franchise. It's that simple. I think they might take a little bit of a dip, like you said, with merch sales and, things like that, just in that amount of time. But once she's back, oh, man, they're going to be getting tickets as soon as possible to see her play. Will they be below 500 in the they did get some, more depth, I will say, for the Fever. Obviously, you want to pair her with some, solid players as well. I think I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'll just say that, yes, they will be above 500, maybe a game or two. So I think they can kind of ride the ship a little bit. And again, you want to make sure that you don't, drop an egg and just be, awful, these these past few games while she's out. You got to try and, people got to step up. That's the main thing about it. So I'm going to give it my stamp of approval, Voldy. I think they'll be okay until she comes back, and then if she does come back, better believe she's gonna, try and get back on track, get this team back on track. So I'm gonna go with that. And obviously she's been dealing with this whole Angel Reese situation again, and it's just we're tired of that. We're tired. It's just like, oh my goodness, just anyway. So yeah, stamp approval. Voldy, what do you got?
I look at the overall makeup of the Fever roster, too. You still have Aaliyah Boston, who is a great player coming out of South Carolina. They did add Sophie Cunningham into the season as well. She has been an electric factory no matter where she's been. Lexi Hull is still a very nice piece that they have for the Fever as well. So without Clark, of course, you do want that obviously a great facilitator and a player as a whole with Caitlin Clark, where they're not going to be they're still going to be hurt with her, out for at least 2 weeks, but they're still going to be quite competitive. They're definitely going to have to change some things up, maybe work a little bit more inside to create offense from the perimeter as a whole. But I feel like they'll be able to at least continue to manage with her absence. They're going to have to mix and match a lot more, play possession, a little bit more possessionally and situationally as well. Will it be below 500? Looking at their schedule too, they've got a few favorable matchups. They're in Washington right now playing. Then they're back home against Connecticut, then take on Washington again, at Chicago, at Atlanta, and take on New York. That's just the next 2 weeks alone. So I think they're looking at least 500. Will they be below 500? You know what? I'm going to say no. I think they're going to be above 500, but they're going to be scrapping for a few wins. It's going to come down to the tail end on a few, and somebody is going to have to step up big time. Maybe a couple players are going to have to step up big time here for the Fever with the absence of Caitlin Clark. But even with her, I would assume she'd still be traveling with the team, or at least may at least be there for home games for sure. But definitely seeing her in the mix will definitely keep the team motivated in many ways.
Yeah, like players like Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Colson, a couple veterans, especially Michaela Timpson as well. So, they should be okay. When she gets back, she'll be hitting threes and people will be happy. Speaking of that, Wolves down 15-7 so far in the first quarter. So let's get things going here, please.
Figure it out.
We'll keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it here. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, we head to the world of the NFL, and, well, interesting comments coming out of Cincinnati, of course, with the recently re-upped and, well, Triple Crown winner Jamarrchase, wide receiver, is taking an interesting note and talking about how the slow starts for the Cincinnati Bengals have plagued them for the last few years, of course, after the success that they had in a run to a Super Bowl appearance. Things haven't exactly gone smoothly since that time, especially when it comes to getting out to fast starts. And interviews and conversations taking place that the Bengals have struggled a little bit with the first few weeks of the regular season based off of how they have practiced in the preseason. Now, Chase did throw out the fact that, well, that they have gotten off to slow starts because of the fact that starters haven't been used effectively during the preseason. Of course, in the time that Zach Taylor, now in 6 seasons, going into his 7th as head coach for the Bengals, has used his starters sparingly in the preseason, where the Bengals are a NFL worst 1-11 in the preseason, even with multiple 0-2 starts in the regular season. Sounds like we need to play in the preseason, quote, end quote, from Jamarrchase itself. Of course, this with the start of OTAs and maybe a little bit of some rocky waters to start off for the Cincinnati Bengals, even after a up and down last couple of years for them, just narrowly missing the playoffs after last season. Now, interesting comments coming from a guy that signed a big contract and is coming off a record year for him, and of course trying to get things back in place to at least build off of the success that he had himself personally. Hopefully that translates to team success. But is it absurd or approved? Do Chase's statements and comments have merit for the Bengals' sluggish starts over the last few seasons, being 1-11 in the preseason and multiple 0-2 starts?
Well, I know a lot of teams that do the same thing, but they have success. I think at first I thought when I first saw this, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, you shouldn't be blaming yourself because you haven't been present with all the whole contract and everything like that. I mean, he's earned it for sure, but the thing with this team is if you start off slow and you're not able to keep up with said teams, then that's a big problem. And you can't be blaming the preseason on that. And I know guys hate the preseason and whatnot. I don't like it myself as well. But you can't be blaming that on the league for, having that. I mean, are you blaming Zach Taylor because he's not playing you guys in that, in the preseason and things like that? I mean, that needs to be a conversation that you need to have with your coach and everything. And, depending on guys, if they're healthy, not healthy. I get you don't want to have anyone get injured, during that game. I get it. But you also want to make sure that you have rapport with a lot of the guys that you're going into the season with. And I think Darnold played, the first quarter, last year against the Raiders. And he did well. I mean, they didn't score a touchdown, but I think he was perfect on his passes and everything like that. So if you have that rapport, and I'm not trying to say start all your guys. I mean, you're not going to start Justin Jefferson because obviously Justin Jefferson. Jamarrchase probably in that category as well. Joe Burrow as well. But, I mean, these guys have played long enough to say, okay, you guys know what to expect. But don't blame it on the preseason because you guys were slow. You got to be ready to go no matter what. I mean, you're the breadwinners here, right? So you got to go out and be ready. So I don't think I think he just needed to kind of think about it for a second before he said it. But again, you can't be blaming the preseason. You got to come in ready and whatnot. Maybe Zach Taylor needs to start play him a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. We saw Adrian Peterson. Remember that preseason game? Adrian Peterson, probably the second carry, fourth carry of the game. I think he took it to the house against Houston.
Yeah.
Texans.
Yep. I remember that.
I didn't hear any complaints about that. So I'm just saying. So, yeah, I would say his comments definitely absurd, I would say.
Okay.
I think it's a variety of things. So, Voldy, what do you think?
See, I'm going to have to go the opposite end of you here. I think the preseason does have a little bit of merit, and Chase's comments certainly do have a lot to partake in this. I have always been a fan. Well, I shouldn't say always have been. I find that the preseason does have a little bit of meaning to it. Wins and losses don't really matter, but we're learning, we're getting reps, we're getting time on the field. Look, you can have 1.5 million reps in practice, OTAs, all that stuff. It doesn't mean anything come game time. Game speed is completely different. Scrimmages, nobody's going 110%, but when it comes to, actual games and even preseason too, there has to be, it's all timing. You're trying to learn about your guys, how to, receivers break certain ways when reading, certain routes, getting that timing down, learning about your offensive line as a whole. Of course, the starters, it doesn't always, they always, in the past as well. First game, you maybe get a series or two. Second game, you get a handful of series. Third game, it's a full dress rehearsal, at least back in the day when it was 4 preseason games. Full dress rehearsal, and then the fourth game is for all the guys that are, just trying to find an NFL roster and or put tape out for other teams to try and pick them up. I understand the how that has value. And the fact that teams like Cincinnati or notoriously slow starters, and they don't fully exercise whatever preseason is still left in 3 games, possibly looking at going to 2 games in the future with, of course, looking at an 18-week season. That's what Goodell wants. He wants 2 preseason games, 18-week regular season, and then, ending with the Super Bowl on President's Day, which would give everybody on a federal holiday a Monday off. Now, for those that work regular 9-to-5 blue-collar jobs. But I understand his frustration in that, given the fact that they were Super Bowl contenders, 4 years ago, and now they're just scraping by in a very tough division, just trying to get to the postseason, even after starting 0-2, 0-3 the last couple seasons, but not getting that timing down. I mean, of course, with Chase and Burrow that have been playing together for, it seems like a decade now at this point, or very close to in a couple of areas, or at least the last 5-6 years, even dating back to their college days, there still needs to be that timing, even at, points like where a certain guy's going to be and all that. It's still all about timing, getting those reps together, and at least, little nuances that change year in and year out. I understand his frustration on that. And maybe Zach Taylor, even after the last few seasons, like, man, maybe we need to change something. Hey, maybe we need to play our guys a little bit more in the preseason, but then you run the risk of injuries and all that. I get that too, erring on the side of caution. But right now, erring on the side of caution is by quite possibly being a make or break season for Taylor. If he doesn't get this team to the playoffs and or a deep playoff run, I could very well see him getting let go and looking at a new coaching situation in Cincinnati. His comments, Jamarrchase, they do have merit. I think that there needs to be a serious look in the mirror, and it's got my stamp of approval there for Cincinnati because they are a team that only gets in their way as much as possible. They have all the right pieces. Sure, they could beef up a little bit defensively, but on the offensive side, they've got just about everything they need, if not already, and then some. They just continue to get in their own way. Thus, the fact that they got to fight their way into even sniffing a playoff chance with about 1.5 million situations that they need to go right. It's definitely got my stamp of approval on Jamarrchase's comments.
There you go. Stamp of approval. Throw that on for you there. I got an update. It's not great, I will say. Wolves down 23-7. They are currently 20% from 2-point range and 14% from 3-point.
Turn down the suck.
Not good. Not good, Bob. Not good. And is at the free throw line, so that's good news. It's almost the end of the first quarter. Oh, and then I think turnovers have been an issue, right, already. So I think, yeah, that's all I really got. That's all I really got right now. We'll keep in tune, see if anything changes and whatnot. I hope they can turn it around. I mean, this is kind of important. So, all right, last ARA Voldy.
Well, we stay in the world of the NFL. One potential future Hall of Fame quarterback isn't getting a lot of praises from a Hall of Fame quarterback in the city that he made his career well known. Yes, Terry Bradshaw, of course, most notably with his time in the Pittsburgh Steelers and his organization that he was drafted number 1 overall back in the day, is not singing the praises of his old squad in the pursuit of soon-to-be 41-year-old, or at least 41-year-old quarterback Aaron Rodgers, in the prolonged courting of the quarterback to become a member of the Steel Curtain. Now, the 4-time Super Bowl winning Steelers quarterback did not hold back his comments in a conversation that he had with a radio station down in Arkansas, quoted as saying, "That's a joke. That to me is just a joke. What are you going to do? Bring him in for 1 year? Are you kidding me? This guy needs to stay in California, go somewhere and chew on bark and whisper to the gods out there," talking about Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers in this prolonged pursuit of coming together. Of course, the Steelers still holding out hope and at least still waiting to make things official if Aaron Rodgers does want to become a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers for the 2025 season. Of course, the Steelers have had a little bit of trouble in recent years when it comes to handling of their quarterbacks, as Bradshaw also noted that the organization called him a failure for how it managed Kenny Pickett when drafting him in the first round back in 2022, just to deal him to the Philadelphia Eagles for the 2024 season, where he ultimately was a Super Bowl champion, even as a backup. Now, with the comments relating towards Aaron Rodgers and Terry Bradshaw not holding anything back, is the Steelers' interest in waiting for Aaron Rodgers, quote unquote, a joke, absurd, or approved?
I mean, this is easy. It's pretty damn easy. I mean, it's got my stamp of approval right away. Here's the thing. He's speaking the truth here, and the thing is they really haven't had a lot of success with quarterbacks since Big Ben has gone, and I do think there is some of the blame on Pittsburgh with how they've handled the quarterback situations. Kenny Pickett kind of being thrown in there. I just don't think he really ever had it, per se. They just needed someone so that the fans could be excited about, And Russell Wilson being there, Justin Fields, who, again, I thought he had some flashes. Wilson kind of did too, but it only lasts for however long because they're not the same quarterback, or at least Russell Wilson is. I mean, we still got to see kind of what we can get from Justin Fields, but the Steelers kind of waiting on him and just seeing kind of how things go and whatnot. We all know Rodgers is sitting back and just is like, I don't want to do any OTAs. I don't want to do any, anything else. I'll show up to training camp maybe at some point. Maybe he doesn't even do that. But if you're going into the season with Mason Rudolph as your starter, you're going to lose a lot of games. I will say that. I don't think they'd make the playoffs, and I think, the Steelers probably are going to strongly consider probably letting – unfortunately, I love Mike Tomlin, don't get me wrong, but letting him go. So there's a lot that I agree with Terry on that. What I'm kind of falling back on is, well, who else are they going to get? Right. I know Kirk has been holding out, but at the same time, are you just going to bring in Kirk and try to have him learn a new system and, him try to figure things out? And it's just like, that doesn't make sense. But, man, he's really taking it to him, man. He is not holding back. and he's telling him to go to the. What did he say, Voldy? He's go to the woods and.
Go to the woods, chew on bark, and listen to the gods out there or whatever. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Oh, that is brilliant. That is brilliant, Terry. I love it. So yeah, and again, Rodgers is going to be Rodgers, and he's beaten down. He's old. He's a piece of crap too. I mean, it's just. Yeah, I agree with Terry. It's just I think they're waiting him out, and they're gonna pull the trigger at some point. I think it's a handshake agreement, so we'll see. Voldy, what do you think?
I understand the frustration on the part of Terry Bradshaw and a lot of guys within the Steelers organization or those around the Steelers organization. Like, sooner or later, someone's got to budge here. And Aaron Rodgers has got all the cards on his table right now because, like, he's, just continuing to, mess with the Steelers at this point that have already started OTAs. And, you've got Mason Rudolph in there as the potential starter. And beyond that, they drafted Will Howard out of the Ohio State University. And that'll be an interesting situation they have there. I mean, the Steelers kind of rotating quarterbacks for the last few years, even though they should have brought back at least one of the two guys in Russell Wilson or Justin Fields last year. They let them both go, and now they're both in New York, New Jersey area adjacent. I understand what the Steelers fans and even Terry Bradshaw is trying to say. It's like, when are we just going to take ourselves seriously and just end this charade as a whole? Waiting for Aaron Rodgers to make the decision while football things are still going on is not the best way to run your organization as a whole, especially with Tomlin, who's definitely been a very no-nonsense kind of guy, obviously a quote-unquote player's coach, but sooner or later he knows how to push the right buttons to get the best out of his guys, and they're in a kind of a make-or-break situation, especially with TJ Watt looking for a new extension off his deal and the production he's had the last few years. They've got a little bit of an aging defense, and their offense has been kind of low to say the least, even with some young guys coming in. They sent George Pickens to Dallas. They signed DK Metcalf. Like, what else is going to give here for a decision to be made? Honestly, a yes or a no from either side about Aaron Rodgers would be great at this point. I understand the reasoning behind it, but it is a joke. It's completely approved. The Steelers, it is a complete joke, and waiting for Rodgers to make a decision or the Steelers to make a decision on Rodgers, something's got to give here at this point. And the fact that we're still all waiting day after day, we're saying, oh yeah, it's going to happen. It's all a matter of time. It's just like, well, when? Now? Never?
Later?
Next week?
Maybe?
Literally, game 1, week 1, when's it going to happen? Training camp? Hopefully not, for everybody else's sake. But, sooner or later, somebody's got to say, yeah, this is happening, or no, all sides have moved on.
Hey, and again, we talked about it. Mike Silver was getting on us because we were calling him a Aaron Rodgers apologist, which, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out at some point. Get him on and talk about that. But yeah, I mean, he's just, the thing is, it's like you're doing what he wants. You're saying like, oh, well, give me a handshake agreement, and it's just like, this is going to end badly, and I think you're not going to like how it turns out. And then I know he teased something like, oh, like someone asked him, would you ever play for the Bears or whatever? And he goes, no, but I know a team that plays them this year, at some point. I'm just like...
Makes a visit to Chicago.
Yeah, makes a visit. You're right. So that's just...
Dude's been all over the place. He's hanging out with Mike Studd. I just listened to the podcast he did with Joe Rogan last week. Dude, his head is as far away from football as possible, especially the chat that he had with Joe Rogan. Yeah, just he keeps saying, it's like, I've got some people in my life that are going through some stuff. Like, okay, just say that.
Yeah.
Just say that. Either say, I'm going to step away here at this time, or like, you know what, people are dealing with some stuff, but now that's aside, let's get back to football, or something. Like, I understand you got to put, yourself and your family first, but like, in your situation, let a guy know. Tell us what's up, honestly. It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's just getting to that point where it's just like, no one's taking him seriously anymore. No one really cares what he does, and he's not going to win another Super Bowl. I'm saying it right now. He's not. So, that'll do it for ARA. Quick update.
Sure.
Not good still. 32-14. OKC is up.
Chaminade. Come on.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Not looking good. I will say this, though. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen, but again, this is not how you wanted to start out Game 5, and they could easily run away with this here. You got to have a really good second quarter. So we'll see what happens. But one last thing, we got to get to some Shield shout-outs tonight. Voldy has a good number of shout-outs to get to tonight, so I say we get it going with some this.
And it's time for Shield shout-outs. Ka-shing, ka-shing.
Going it back to our radio days, so let's get it going with some Shield shout-outs.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who you shouting out tonight?
Well, we got to start off, of course, with over the weekend. Of course, Memorial Day weekend also happened to be the 8th wedding anniversary for myself and creative consultant Mrs. Sarah Ann Toosvold. But on a quick pit stop on our way out to my parents' lake place, we made a little detour to the Litchfield Municipal Liquor Store, and Mrs. Sarah Ann Toosvold finally found, after much deliberation and searching around the area, a full case of Samuel Adams Porch Rocker in cans. Can't get them in cans anywhere except at Litchfield Municipal Liquor Store, including one that I am currently drinking as well. Found those over the weekend, picked up a case, and life is good once again, so shout out to her for that. Also, big shout out to the fine folks at City Locks, including the patch that I have on my hat here for the new license plate patches. I got one here from Minnesota, one from the license plate that I had in South Dakota, and a special little license plate that I had made up for the golf cart out at the lake cabin as well. So that'll be making its way over there hopefully this weekend. Big shout out to Team USA Hockey, the men's hockey team, capturing their first World Championship in gold medal for the men's hockey team for the first time since 1933. All the way back 92 years it's been since Team USA has won a World Championship for, of course, men's hockey. So shout out to the fine folks there, and of course those guys in red, white, and blue. And finally, we do have to send a Shield shout out to the Denver Broncos, as much as I don't like the Broncos, for announcing that the late wide receiver and legend Demaryius Thomas will be inducted into the team's Ring of Honor this coming season. Of course, his notable time in Denver, as he sadly passed away back in 2021, will be honored this coming season for the Denver Broncos, as Demaryius Thomas, for his time and work that he did in Denver, will be honored this upcoming season. And that is going to do it for Shield Shoutouts this week.
Yes, DT, congratulations to him. Unfortunately, God, I still can't believe he's gone. Yeah, R.I.P. to him. And looks like you got some good stuff there over the weekend, Voldy. Glad that you're able to get that case, as well as the awesome hat that you have. Hats, too. So, well done with Shield Shoutouts this week. There's not a whole lot of positive to go with the Wolves right now.
Not right now, no.
But we're we'll see how it pans out. But if it gets ugly, then I guess
That's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote. It was a fun run. It was a fun run and whatnot. And if that's if that's how they want to end it, or if they pull it off, that'd be great too. So I don't want to end it on a sour note, guys. I promise. But anyway, what could give you a little pick-me-up is merch. We've got
Yes, sir.
merch. Yes, we have merch. We got the shirts. We got the sweatpants. We got the stickers. We got the hats. Yes, the hats are a hot commodity right now that we're starting up summer here very, very soon. And the stickers as well. You know, if you still want a tumbler, you still want to get prepared for winter, if you're that kind of person, let us know. We can set something up for you. Thank you to National Fleet Graphic, Tyler Knutson, Crown Rental for the stickers. And make sure you check out our guy, W2 Performance, Will Rattel, our guy, www.w2performance.com. Make sure you check him out on the socials, on YouTube, the whole kit and caboodle. And then make sure you check out the Brotherly Ballers podcast with Tyler Hermann, Jack Vickers. Things are starting to get in motion here. Fantasy football's kind of around the corner here. And make sure you check out our guy, TLS Performance, Troy Stoudemire Jr. Yes, doing some big things, keeping you up to date. Make sure you check out his socials. And to wrap things up, Popcorn Bucket List, a.k.a. PBL, Nick Dahlhoff, and Rhino Myhrberg as well. Omni Entertainment, keep you up to date on all the latest movies, especially this past week. There are a lot of them. Mission Impossible, Lilo and Stitch, the whole deal. Make sure you check those guys out and those movies as well. So, Voldy, let's end this a little bit nicer. And, because... the Wolves are just down. They're down 38-14. It's
Wonderful.
Pretty much all she wrote, I feel like, here. But let's end this on a nice one. Voldy, we had, when we do Where Are They Now? We had somebody comment again. Voldy, can you tell us who that person was?
Yeah, dude. Lawrence Baroni commented on our post.
Yeah.
Asking, I heard you guys were looking for me. It's like, looks like we found you.
We found you, and we'd
Huge.
love to have you on. We would love to
Absolutely.
have you on. The thing is Boof Bonzer, we did that. He contacted us. Troy Stoudemire,
Never got. Yep.
same deal. Well, yeah, Boof was kind of a different thing. I don't know what happened, to be honest.
I don't know either.
Yeah, something happened there.
Hopefully
But
all is well with Booth Bonzer.
yeah, exactly. We love the names, just fantastic as always. And then you look at Lawrence Maroney, and he commenting saying, "Hey, I heard you guys were looking for me. Hey, we would love to have you on this show. We'd love to talk Gopher football, NFL, Patriots, the whole deal. We would love to talk to you about that." So, that being said, that'll do it for episode 241. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and I know the Wolves aren't playing well right now, but hey, anything can happen, I guess. That's how I'll put it. So, fingers crossed, see what happens, and we'll see you guys next week. And as always, remember, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla!
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.